Alright, haven't done a video for a little while. Been enjoying some nice Australian autumn weather with the family. But today we're going to cover the selector fork and housing for the PTO, power takeoff. So this here is your power takeoff engagement lever. It is connected to this lever there, so let that swing loose. To speed up things, I've already drained the oil and loosened the 4 bolts. Now the oil bung for the gearbox oil is on the opposite side to this. Standard 3/4 inch bung, pretty easy undo. I was lucky enough to be able to fit my 20 litre drum right under it, so I caught it all straight out. Didn't have to try double handle it in an oil pan. As you can see, still a little bit of oil in there from what's dripping out, but until I open it up I can't remove it. So I'll loosen up this bolt. Out it comes. Now there's 4 of those. Now see here how it's recessed in to get it around this bolt head here. So once it's out, drop it down and then out it comes. Now you can see there, that is the selector fork. You can see there's a groove in the gear there, and as you push and pull the lever, it engages and disengages the PTO gear. Bit of wear on it. The teeth have got a little bit of wear. That's from people rushing things and grinding a little bit. Now with the actual housing, main reason I'm replacing it is a fouled gasket, make a new one of those, but also a leaking seal around here. Nothing major, but going all the trouble to do everything else, might as well get in on the very bottom of the tractor and replace this seal. To do that, cut the locking wire, undo that screw, and then you can pull the shaft all the way out and take out the selector fork. Now there is a spring and a ball bearing, so be mindful of that when you pull it out. You don't want to lose things. When you put it together, back together again, ball bearing, spring in first. Make sure you got this around the right way, and then it's pretty much, you find it down, there we go, then up. So with the new gasket, you got to be really careful not to put it out of place or scratch it, and then the reverse of what I showed you before. But that's your selector fork and housing. Bit of work to do there, nothing major. Seal should be pretty easy to get from your local ball bearing supplier. Alright, so here is the selector fork and housing disassembled. There's a little locking screw that goes at the top of the selector fork there, and that goes into that hole there in the shaft, locks it in. Shaft came out. Now here are the grooves that the ball bearing locks into as the shaft goes to engaged and disengaged position. The spring is actually housed in this little bulge here. You can turn it over. You can just see where it sits in, just in there. Here is a seal. Again, unfortunately I've had to hack it apart to try and get it out, and this thing was in tight. Lubrication, heating, tapping, nothing worked, so I had to kind of cave it in on itself to get it loose enough to pop out. But I'll take the shaft and the housing to the bearing supply. There's a little ball bearing. Now again, when you take the shaft out, that'll come out with some force, so make sure you're expecting it, because that would not be a fun one to lose. Now the other thing is that the spring, at some point, the spring has actually got a little kick or dog leg in the top. So a little trick I found is to get a screwdriver that fits as snugly as possible. It takes a bit, and you push it in the good side, and it brings that dog leg or that little kink in the spring back into position. Leave it like that for a bit for it to settle, and then I'll put the part that had the kink in it back in the base, so it's got the shroud around it to hold it together. Again, hard bit to find if you lose it on your workshop floor, but that's it all disassembled. Alright, hope that helps.